Great, because there will be some new questions today, so if you were here yesterday, you might hear something different. Our next guest is someone who you might know from the world of gaming, animation, and also live action. She has been in titles like The Callisto Protocol, Suicide Squad, and The Boys. She's a ray of sunshine, but she's also a professional badass. So please join me in giving a very warm Budapest welcome to Karen Fukuhara.
Thank you so much for being here. So many people. Hi.
Hi Karen, welcome back.
Hi, thank you for having me. I feel like we have more people today than yesterday. This is exciting.
Oh yeah, and your Hungarian is getting better day by day.
Yes. I'm getting tips and tricks from you. I think last night we went to a really wonderful restaurant called Dorumba.
Nice.
If anyone's ever been, I think it was Middle Eastern, and we had the best prawns and hummus, and it was delicious. And I tried, okay, I forget the name of it, but it's the Hungarian moonshine.
Pálinka?
Yes. Woo!
How's your vision?
It was strong. It was very, very strong. And I also learned how to say cheers, but that was you don't have a short version of that. It's very long and difficult to say.
Yeah, it is. It is the Hungarian tongue twister. Can you guys help Karen out and tell her how to say cheers in Hungarian? And
I
now,
couldn't do it yesterday and I can't do it today. Yes. Agi?
oh yeah.
Oh, see, they didn't tell me that yesterday. They gave me the long Agi. Okay, Agi.
So, it's 17 days until the premiere of The
Oh
Boys.
my gosh, who's counting?
Well, I did the count.
I love that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how crazy can we expect?
Oh my gosh, 20.
Good.
20. I think we are going full throttle this season. Not that we haven't gone full throttle every
And
season.
you guys did it a bit toned down in earlier seasons, didn't you?
You know what? We're gonna tone it all the way down. No. And I think in the world of The Boys, we have to crank it up 100%, and we do that every season, and we are doing that again this season. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, because what I love about the show is that, you get to see these like crazy exploding penises and the whale, and it's crazy, right? And but it's all grounded in character work, and you deeply care for these characters because they have a backstory, and they have they kind of give you a reason to fall in love with these really insane, sometimes evil human beings. And we take it to the next level this season. Don't get too attached. A lot of people, a lot of your favorites, who knows? I don't know. It's without giving too much away, it's going to be a very tearful season.
Lots of fake blood and goo.
Lots of fake blood, lots of it.
This is actually something I wanted to ask, because yeah, The Boys is probably the rowdiest bunch on the screen. Did it happen that, were there any ideas that people said, no, this is just too much, we're not gonna go there, or?
I don't think so. I think a lot, well, okay, so what's funny is, whenever Kripke is trying to do something insane, he always has to ask permission to the studios, right? So they get to, I guess, every single meeting where he's asking for permission is so funny, because they're like, all right, like how about we do, like how big can this be? How inappropriate can this be? And so they get into a serious meeting, and it's like, okay, what about 20%? No, 80%. Okay, well, let's meet in the middle. In one of the seasons, I think this is well known, the Deep had to have a boner in like one of the scenes, but like it's a scene where he's on stage and he is in his full deep outfit. So you don't see anything, but you see like a bulge. And I guess in you know, when we were filming it, they did it with like a real practical, you know, thing, like that, a prosthetic, if you will, that they put in his pants. And then they were watching the dailies later, and they were like, it's too big. It's too big, it's too unrealistic, it's too big. So they had to CGI it smaller. Isn't that insane? But like, imagine the kind of phone call that they had to have where they were like, pick up the phone and they're like, we have an issue, we have a problem. And they're like, what is it? And they're like, the deep. It's too big. So, you know, it's a bizarre world that we live in, and I think that's what makes it fun, right? It's the world of acting. You know, we get to do these interviews, and we get to do these extreme premieres, and you know, our show pokes fun at that world of Hollywood. But if you think about it, we're all just playing like make-believe. We're all children, you know, playing with house and playing with Barbie dolls, and then we get to do it in like adult life, and we're just so like lucky to have people that care about that. But it is kind of a weird thing of like social norms and commentary of like how interested people are of like what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of social norms, we talked about this a bit yesterday, that the boys is very smart in tackling some social commentary in a smart way, and some part of it is representation that you told us about in terms of the sign language community. What do you think is the key of doing representation right in a show, so it doesn't feel forced or shoehorned or something like that?
I love that question, thank you. I think it starts with the writing, and I think a lot of times you can tell when it's not genuine, and you can tell when a show is pushing like, let's put, you know, LGBTQ community in this, like we need that. So like they shove it in, and like the storyline and the arc, it's just not nuanced and it doesn't feel real. And you can tell it's disingenuous. And I think the easiest way to make sure that it is real is to have writers that have had that experience. You know, we have an Asian writer, we have a Black writer, we have experts in that field, right, in that subject, to advise us on what happens in the real world, and having a sign language coach that like has lived that experience was really beneficial to not only the writing of the show, but I also think that for me as an actor, I gained new insight into that community. And she shared, you know, like not in the beginning, but after months and months of rehearsal every single day with, you know, now my friend. And we've gone like ice fishing together, and she's come to my apartment, and like we talk about her personal life and my personal life, and like we're friends now. And so she tells me about what happens in her everyday life, and I feel very lucky that I get you know, like the first front row seats to her experiences.
That you can genuinely connect to and then bring it to the screen in a...
Yes. And it would be so different if I'm like just Googling things, right? Yeah.
Now, Kimiko is one of the most badass characters on screen. What do you think it is that audiences often misread about strong female characters, and if anything that you would like to change about this sort of appearance?
That's such a good question. I think that, well, I'm not sure if it directly answers your question, but I think it's really important to note that women in this world, we're not just characters or people that should be used for someone else's storyline. a lot of times we're like, I mean, for us, it happens in the beginning of the series, right? Like Robin, pretty much, like she dies in order to propel Huey's story. And I know that Kripke didn't want to do that every single time. It just happened that one time and then didn't happen again. But a lot of times shows will repeat that same storyline of like, okay, we need someone important in this man's life to like get into like this crazy, unfortunate situation. So the man steps up and he's the hero. But I think it's more nuanced than that. Women in this world are sometimes the breadwinner. Sometimes they're like, well, a lot of times they're the ones that are the core of a family, right? They're the ones that like keep the family together. They are wearing like 10 different hats and they have like 10 different things. It's like, you know, the meme where they have like keys in like one finger and then like a coffee in another and then they have the baby in one hand, you know, and then they're also like on their way to work. So I think, you know, women are strong. Women are really strong in our everyday life, and we all know women that we lean on, right? And so I think it's important to showcase that in television and film. It's happening a lot more now in the past decade, and I'm happy for it.
Yeah, and I think Kimiko is a very good example because she starts out as a victim, but she grows into someone with true agency.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think she's a badass character in every way. And initially it was just, you know, her physical badassery, but now it's also emotional, and she's had a lot of growth. And you can see that in her scenes, especially with Frenchie.
Now, yesterday we talked a bit about practical effects, and I would like to go a bit deeper on that with you, because I think, you know, when we as fans and audiences, we watch the show and we see like an action scene that's like 5, 6, 7 minutes, I'm not sure if people realize just how much work goes into maybe, you know, a scene that lasts like 3 seconds, like someone going through a wall or getting kicked or something like that. So could you just tell us a bit more about how such a scene is built up?
Yes. It's so cool because, you know, when you watch something on screen, it sometimes it's just 30 seconds and it's done. But us as actors have at least spent, you know, 18 hours on a day to shoot that scene, or the writers have meticulously thought every single aspect out. Not the writers, but like every department, right? So everything goes hand in hand. In rehearsals, you have the stunt team. They're thinking of the choreography, and then they have set design. They're like, okay, well, if you're gonna sit there and there's a blast right next to you, if that chair is gonna explode, like, is that gonna hit that actor? So like, how far do they need to be? And we have people on the side with like a blood cannon. It's basically this humongous like cannon with like blood and guts. But the guts are soft, right? Because if it hits the actor, they can't get hurt. So like it's all soft goo, and then we just have people, the AD yelling out like, "All right, everyone to your positions!" And like every department says the word "set," like we're set. So we say, okay, set, and then once everyone says set, they go 3, 2, 1, action, and then everyone starts to do their part of the dance. And it is such a cool thing to watch, and a really like, you get kind of, you know, jazzed right before they call action, and it's funny, like a lot of times it's like, more blood, all right, like, and then like, sometimes we have these explosives that are tied into your jacket, and it's sewn in by the wardrobe department and special effects department, and they like, you have, if you're to like have a gun and then shoot me here, it will like the jacket will explode and it makes it look like I got shot, but like I have to time it and know that it's going on this beat, so then I can like do a little like jolt into, you know what I mean? It's like,
and you can flinch.
Yes, I can flinch. Although I will say Kimiko has had moments where I had to ask the director, I was like, do you want me to flinch on this one? And they're like, actually, no, she would not flinch on that one because it would not hurt her. But you know, like it's all a discussion. And it's in the world of the superheroes, you also have to be on the same page about like and know how strong your character is in relation to the other character. I don't know if anyone remembers the scene from the end of season 4 when Frenchie's taken away by by the Gen V characters, Maddie and Asa, Kate and I forget the character name, but Sam. So he sees the puppets, that character, and I didn't know, like, because Gen V hadn't come out yet. So I didn't know what their powers were, and I didn't know how strong they were. So as, you know, Asa Sam is holding me back, I was escaping. I was like, okay, get off of me. And then I started running, and then Kripke would come up to me and he's like, no, he's like the Hulk. Like, you can't move. Like, so it's all a discussion of, and it's so funny how these are, again, the conversations that we're having, and we're playing make-believe, and it's so fun, you know?
Now, speaking of a bit about what you have to do, you have to master a spectrum of things going in, from training to memorizing the choreography to doing stunt work. How hectic is your life on set? Like, you have like a day when you only do stunt stuff, or does it happen that you do stunt stuff in the morning and in the afternoon you do like a scene with your cast member partners?
Yeah. It's usually all of the things happening in one day. You know, you go. I like to go to the gym first. So I'll go with my trainer to a different location, do the gym, get that over with, because it's so hard to go to the gym after work. So go to the gym, and then usually stunts, and that's, you know, 1 to 2 hours, and then I go to sign language or a wardrobe fitting or hair and makeup, or you need to do a prosthetics test. So they put the like body part for me. Like I got a lot of limbs taken off. My hand comes off, and you know I had to have the baby arm, and yeah. So like it's all, you know, it depends. Not every day you have every department, but my consistent was the like stunt work, gym, and sign language. That was happening every day basically. But yeah, I did get by season 4, and I should have asked for it before, but so you can get a full body scan nowadays through like this 3D scanner, and they will get every single measurement during this body scan.
Okay.
But before then, we were doing like body molds. So they put this like, it looks like paper mache, but they put the paper mache over the part of your body that they need to recreate into like a doll, or, you know, if it's an arm, like they had to, you know, make my arm with paper mache. And it's a really uncomfortable process. It takes hours and hours, and you are basically standing like this, and you're putting your foot into this like body of water, and then they put like all these, it's paper mache all over your body. And it takes hours, and it's uncomfortable, especially if you're doing your head. It's very claustrophobic, and a lot of people don't like it, and you're breathing out of a straw. And then I think in season 4, they were like, yeah, you know, you can do a full body scan. It takes 30 seconds. You're in this machine, and they're like, beep, 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 and then they're like, okay, you're done. And then I was like, I could have done that all along. Damn it. So for season 5, I didn't have to go in and do the paper mache. They already had my body scanned.
Now, you mentioned sign language, and there is one sort of unofficial hand sign or hand signal of the boys' cast, and for the life of me, I couldn't find the origins of the middle finger.
Uh-huh.
How did it start? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, you know, That's so funny. It started very early, and I don't know why it did. I don't quite know why it did. I've actually been on 2 shows where the middle finger was like an iconic thing. I think for Suicide Squad, that was also a middle finger in a lot of the photos that we took. And then with this show, obviously, I mean, we also have like a lot of fun doing it with the fans in photos because I think it like, it embodies the idea of fuck soups and, kind of saying fuck you to like the powers that are, used in terrible ways and the underdog story, right?
Like Rage Against the Machine said.
Oh yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's rebellious, and that's the nature of our show. And so I think pretty early on in season 1, we started using the middle finger. I don't know if it was before the Fuck Soup slogan was made, or if the Fuck Soup slogan was made because we were doing the middle finger. But I think we have a picture with Derek Robinson, who worked on the show. He came to set one day, and there's a group photo of us where we're all already doing the middle finger. So pretty early on, yeah.
I love it how it started off as a gimmick and really became kind of the symbol for the whole show and what it represents towards the whole superhero genre.
Yes. I think it's about going against the grain. I think it's about going and like really truly standing behind what you believe in and what you think is right, and saying like fuck you to really like what other people think, because like you truly believe in what you think is right.
I think many people like The Boys because of that, because some of the superhero stuff became sort of, felt like skinning the same sheep over and over again, and The Boys came in with this screw all that attitude and really turned the whole soup thing on its head. Where do you think the whole superhero thing can go from here?
Oh, wow. I would love to hear what Garth, and it's our creator, he's here at this convention, and we had dinner last night with Garth and John, who both worked on the show. I feel like they are geniuses, and what their minds can cook up is it's just so interesting. And so I would love for him to answer that question. Would love to know the answer. I think it's the kinds of superhero shows that I've loved are, like Batman with Heath Ledger, but like I loved that the Joker was played in that way. I've loved, I liked Black Widow. I loved Florence Pugh in that, and she kind of, I think the through line is that there's an element of surprise. Like you don't think that this character is going to speak in that way or carry themselves in that way. And in our show, it's, you don't expect a character like Homelander to be so fucked up, and so I think that is the formula. I think from like moving forward, there has to be some kind of like element of surprise, and oftentimes it's not just the superhero genre. We're doing a lot of remakes, a lot of reboots,
yeah.
And sometimes I think it's not necessary, because we've already seen it. If it was great before, it's great now. And so I don't know.
Yeah, like, can we have original stories?
Yes, I think original stories are what people are drawn to, and maybe they make it for the newer generation so that it feels more like fresh and new, but and then sometimes it's really brilliant, and it can be really well done, but oftentimes I think it just falls short because you expect a certain thing, and then it's pretty much the same, but like just not as good, So I think, superhero genre, yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing, but hopefully there's new ways for this genre to keep going, because we all love it, right? We all love watching superhero things, but we want something a little more jazzy, I guess.
And we have a few more minutes, so let's talk about some other topics as well. This is Comic Con Budapest, so all sorts of fandoms are here, from gaming to animation, and you did all that. Are you into other sorts of geekery? Are you a gamer? Are you playing board games or RPGs?
I am not a gamer. I didn't grow up with a console, so I still remember going to friends' places and being the worst player, like at the sleepovers. You know, when you don't own it at home, you can't practice. And so, but I still had a lot of fun. Like back then, we were doing a lot of like Mario Kart, like Mario Party, Nintendo games. I grew up with a Game Boy. I'm really aging myself. But you know, that kind of thing. And then I think my little brother was into like the Xbox and all of that. It's so funny. I worked on a show called Callisto Protocol. Yeah. Thanks. But like, I couldn't play it. I tried. I couldn't get past like the first 10 minutes because I didn't know. When you're a gamer, you just know where to walk and to go. And as someone that's never done that before, I couldn't decipher if something was like something I could climb on, or is that a hallway that I could go? And I kept bumping into things, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's so hard. So no, I'm not a gamer, but I had a really fun time working on that. I did a full body mocap on a green screen, and there were a lot of challenges on that project, especially day one, because, you know, in the world of the boys and film and TV, you get many different takes to get, and different angles to get it right. But when you're doing mocap, because there's cameras everywhere in the room, it's 360, and so you only really need like 1 take, 2 takes of a scene, and there's no props. There's
not even a fake gun or anything.
They'll give you a fake gun, but it doesn't look like a real gun. It just kind of looks like a foam thing with balls on it, and then they don't like they kind of. For the first day, they were like, okay, this is where the elevator is, this is the staircase, and you're gonna start right here. And I'm like, oh, okay, but you don't, like, there's no real elevator. In film and TV, you see a real elevator there, right? And you see the staircase, so you know where everything is, and then you kind of think of like, okay, I'm gonna say this here, and I'm gonna do this there. And you kind of like plan it and rehearse it, and then you do the take. But for mocap, you kind of have to imagine everything. They're like, okay, in the far corner, there's, you know, a snowy mountain with like a volcano erupting, and you have to be like, wow, it's so crazy that that's out there, and like, and you're also in a snowstorm, so you're like a little, you have to act a little cold, but everything is imaginary. So it's a very difficult process as an actor, I think. Like, you have to really like exercise that part of you. And I kept running into the like elevator. And so after like take 2 or 3, my director was like, we need to put something there for her. So they put like a gigantic box, and they're like, Karen, this is the elevator, boom. And like, you know, it's a learning curve. It was hard for me, but you know, by the 2nd, 3rd day, it was fine.
I also did some voice acting, like in Tomb Raider or The Boy and the Heron and the like. And I was wondering, how do you develop a voice for a character? You just sit in front of the mirror and practice weird voices, or you drive around in your car and that's when the inspiration strikes. So how does it work?
Yeah, you know, for those projects especially, I approach it differently for dubbing, and then if I'm creating a voice from scratch. And oftentimes in your breakdown that you get in your audition, they say like, sometimes they give direction a little bit. So sometimes it's high pitched and like quirky, and she's young. Then you like go into your higher register, and then sometimes if you're playing some character that's very like monotone and badass, you kind of just want to lay here, and you don't want to go up here. But for those characters, you kind of have to like use your imagination again and have fun with it. I think one of the best, I thought, auditions that I've had was for DuckTales. I didn't get it, but I was like having so much fun. I was like, I was feeling like a duck, and I have a little like lisp, and I'm like, and I had so much fun doing it. I didn't get it. I didn't even get the callback, so they hated it. But you try your best and like shoot your shot, and sometimes it's not what they're looking for. And then other times I'm doing dubbing projects, and I'm lucky in that Japanese was my first language, and so I ask for the original footage, and I tried to match whatever the Japanese voice actor did. And so I just try to match exactly what they have done and the cadence at which they speak. And dubbing is interesting because a lot of times the translation is not direct translation, and there are certain times when you think, oh, in English we would not say that, but because it's a direct translation of the Japanese, you say something and you're like, oh, okay, that it's not exactly the same thing, but like it matches, and then it has to match the flap of the character that's already been drawn, right? You have to like
for the Japanese original.
Yes, work with whatever is already existing. And so it's interesting. I find dubbing more difficult because you have to be more technical with it. And one thing that I learned for Boy and the Heron, I was doing exactly the same voice as the Japanese actor did. And then Michael Sinter-Nicholas, who I think he worked on Your Name. He's a really big voiceover director. He's wonderful. And he was the one that pulled me aside halfway through the, like maybe 1/3 of the way through my recording session. And he said, Karen, I think you're holding back, and we need you to go there. And I said, oh, okay, but the voice actor, she's more repressed. She's not as big, or she's not as emotional. And this is the scene, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, but it's the scene where my character is telling the boy, my son, she's in a bed and there's like white papers everywhere, and she's trying to like encourage him into taking the next step. And he was like, no, he said, I think it should be more emotional, more heightened, more high stakes. And so he kind of gave me the permission to do it. And from then on, I think my performance got better because I was doing my own thing. And sometimes, you gotta work with what your voice is like catered towards almost. And that was a big learning curve. And ever since then, I've just learned that, like, yes, you want to sound like the original, but also, like, put your own flavor into it.
Thank you. We're slowly running out of time, but there's two more things I'd like to ask you. Yesterday, you established that your career started 10-ish years ago.
Yes.
And I know this is the most LinkedIn job interview kind of question, but where do you see yourself in 10 years? What I mean is, what are some things you would like to try, like a drama, thriller, claymation, you name it?
That's so funny. So I've always, this is a side note, I've always, I've never had a LinkedIn because I have an IMDb, that's like our LinkedIn. And it's so funny because sometimes you're like trying to creep on people, and you do like, you know, you look up their Instagram or whatever, and then a lot of times you want to know like what they've been doing, so you look up the LinkedIn, but I can't see because I don't have an account. So like I sometimes I have to ask my friend to be like, hey, can you look this guy up? But yeah, that was my LinkedIn story. I would love, since we talked about voiceover, I would love to do both the Japanese anime voice and the American dub voice. So do both, right? That would be so fun, and it would be my voice, but like speaking in two different languages. A lot of times, by the time it comes to America, the audition comes to America, it like the Japanese project's already been done, and it's just a different process, I think. But maybe I have to live there for a bit. I don't know, or maybe I just have to like be like a bigger name so that they think of me from the beginning. That, and then I would love to do like I love the movie 500 Days of Summer. I love Slice of Life, A24, feel-good movies that are grounded in reality and interpersonal relationships, and I just love it, like a human-to-human love story. So if I'm doing like a romantic rom-com, I would love to do like that kind of like heartfelt story, indie. And I want to do a heist movie.
Ooh.
I would love to do a heist movie. You think she's like a nerdy girl that like is like kind of timid, but then she's like super badass. That would be, I think, fun.
I can see all this coming together in a spin-off for Kimiko and Frenchie.
Oh my goodness, let's fight for that.
They can do romantic heists together.
Yes, exactly.
Unfortunately, our time is up, but before I let you go, just this one thing, that what is up next for you in the immediate few days? So are you going back to Rome to meet your cast members, get ready for the premiere, and after that, what's next for you?
Yeah, well, we just actually did the premiere in Rome. We had an amazing night. Our Amazon publicity team, the Sony team, was just like went above and beyond. We, arrived on this double-decker bus that had our logo on it, and then like the fans there were insane. It was so special to watch the first episode with an auditorium full of people, because we don't really, in this day and age with streamers, we can only get your reactions online on social media or on Reddit or things like that. And so it was just nice to be in a room full of people and see where people reacted to certain things, or like where they laughed, where they cried. It was a really special night for us, and we cherish those moments. So hopefully you guys enjoy season 5. It's coming out April 8th in 17 days, as he said. And we do read a lot of the comments. Not all of them, I'm sure there's a lot out there, but we read a lot of them. So yeah, like go ham. Let us know what you think. It's always really cool to see like the fan art and the cosplays and reading things online. So also I wanted to add, and then to answer your question, we will be doing a little bit of like tourism in Budapest. So any suggestions are welcome today. Please let me know your local favorites. We have some days here that we want to go exploring, so that would be great.
Karen, thank you so much for being here, and I'm sure I'm not alone in saying that we would love to have you back in Budapest and on the stage of Comic Con as well.
Thank you. I mean, you guys have been so wonderful. I've never been to this side of the world before, and I just find everyone's been so respectful. And it reminds me of Japanese culture a little bit. It's like this quiet respect, and it's been really just like wonderful getting to know all of you guys. So thank you so much for being here, and excited to see you later tonight.
Fukuhara.